Okay, Friday, May 5th, 2023. I'm on my way to the city center of Lviv to take care of some admin stuff. You know, as a foreign resident in Ukraine, there's a lot of paperwork. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Alex Grover, CEO and co-founder of Restack AI. And today I want to talk about the Metaverse, you know, what the Metaverse competes with. And you know, why it was the big to do, and then all of a sudden everyone wants to get away from it. At one point it was like change the world and revolutionize the way we live, and now companies are laying off their Metaverse departments and, you know, trying to get away from this word. So what is it is like I guess like a virtual world. You put on a headset, or even it could be a web page, or it could be like some game and you interact with other people. It's like more or less like a chat room with 3D graphics, and you know, you can navigate different rooms, and it's got a better GUI on it. It's like a chat room with a GUI, you know, and it's maybe also like chat room meets Amazon, like online stores with a GUI, because there's obviously commerce elements and game elements. So it's all these things combined into one, you know. So why do we spend our time there? Well, you know, during the pandemic, you could go to jail for going outside, and in some countries, you know, like in India, my friend told me the cops were like caning people with sticks, and in China they locked people indoors. So of course you'll jump on the computer more and spend a lot of time, and gaming and all this stuff took off. And now the pandemic is over and spring is coming, summer is coming. So, you know, the Metaverse has to compete with the outdoors. It has to compete with real life. So the Metaverse, you know, competes with, let's think of the things it competes with. It competes with meeting up with your friends at the bar or at the coffee shop, just like on that TV show Friends, or like Cheers. So it competes with that, like meeting people in real life. It competes with dating, like real life dating, not like, you know, this freaky cyber dating or whatever. But, you know, you go on Tinder, and this is how I met my fiance. You go on Tinder and you meet up, and, you know, you look into her eyes, and, you know, you try to convince her, you know, that you're the one, you know, you know, and all this stuff. And, you know, that you can't put on like virtual reality headsets for that. And, you know, you can't be at your desktop. You have to go out to like a restaurant or a coffee shop and, you know, meet and go out and, you know, go on a trip to Turkey together to get to know each other better, that kind of stuff. So the Metaverse has a lot of competition with dating. You know, what else does the Metaverse compete with? You know, when I was younger, I used to really enjoy hunting and fishing, especially fishing, because you just kind of sit there and you chill out. You know, you relax, you got your friends, you know, and then you catch a fish, and then you grill it, and, you know, you bring some lemon with you and some spices or whatever, and, you know, you wrap it up in the foil, and you got to make the fire, and, you know, all that stuff seems mundane, but it's actually a lot of fun when you look back. It's like really cool. Or if you go, I used to go down in southern Louisiana and fish with a friend in a boat, and we used to go at night, and you just put the flashlight on the water and a gummy bear on the hook, and you catch a fish, and it's really exhilarating. It's just like it's like playing it, and especially when you get to eat it, you know, when you eat what you catch. That's really satisfying. So yeah, the Metaverse has to compete with that sort of thing as well, you know. So yeah, so that's maybe why the Metaverse is struggling. And video game numbers, you know, especially Web3 games, the numbers are really down. And, you know, I was listening to a podcast, or not a podcast, but a Twitter space last night, and everyone was talking about, like, you know, complain about like, oh yeah, in the Web 2 games, you know, you don't own your property or your skins, or you don't know how many of those skins have been sold. But people are playing those games. You know, Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, they're doing tremendously well, and they're diversified businesses. And, you know, these Web 3 games, they really struggle, because, to be honest with you, I mean, if it wasn't for the money element, they're not that fun. It's just like the casino. Nobody's going to play a slot machine to play the slot machine. They play it because there's this chance they could win some money. You put in a penny and you can get out $5, or you put in $1 and you can become a millionaire that night. But the actual, dragging the lever and watching those things spin around, if there wasn't money involved, you wouldn't be doing it. No one would be doing roulette. And the only thing that makes poker fun is the betting, that you can go, all in and do bluffs. But if you were not doing it for the money, people wouldn't be playing it. It's, the board games, Monopoly and chess are more interesting because you got to think and there's some strategies, because I haven't never seen people play poker unless money was involved. But I think there's definitely some strategies involved in poker, but it won't compete with chess or Monopoly or Clue or, these board games, or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, because those are actually like, they can stand on their own. So, we need to see Web3 games stand on their own, but the problem is they're slow because, they're on the blockchain or they have a cost element. You got to pay gas fees or service fees. So, yeah, those are just some thoughts I have about Metaverse and Web3, and I guess that's just a really nice day here, and I'm not on the computer. I'm just enjoying the walk. Life is a journey, not a destination. And these are things that you have to think about, especially when you're in a product that you're not competing with other Web3 games or other blockchains. Sometimes you're just competing with life, So, like I said, Restack AI, we aim to find practical applications of blockchain technology. For example, like consumer loyalty. So people are going to use their loyalty cards anyway, but they could redeem it for an NFT collectible. You could use it for fundraising, as I was saying in a previous video. Instead of having to, sell t-shirts or sell postcards or knickknacks, it's a little bit more green, more environmentally friendly to sell the NFTs, and they can have some utility access to a chat room or discounts on merchandise, like, for Hugo the Parrot, for instance. If we sell t-shirts, maybe you pay partly in tokens and partly with currency, or you can buy in tokens or something, or the NFT will get you a discount on some merch, or get you an invite to an event, or get you into a chat room or something where you can, have best practices for caring about African gray parrots. So it can just digitize what's already there. Just like, desktop computers digitize the file cabinet, or hard drives digitize the file cabinet. NFTs can digitize membership cards, can digitize tickets. Those are the sort of applications we're after, like to enhance consumer loyalty. So, if you buy enough Starbucks coffees, they have those stamps, and even some of them, sold for a lot of money. And so that saves Starbucks some money. So people redeem their loyalty points instead of for coffees, which have more cost. They redeem it for NFTs, which are much less costly, per unit. You just have an artist and put it on the chain. It's like you pay a guy, and the art can even come from the community. So it's an incredible business model. We have this thing called the local card here in Lviv, Ukraine. And it's like a combined loyalty card between many restaurants. And so you gain points from one restaurant and you can redeem it at another restaurant. So it's usually 10% of your bill. And then you rack it up. And I usually go to the chocolate store and redeem my points there, after we've gone out to eat for a few weeks or something. But I'm going to approach them and see if we can do a Starbucks style loyalty program or something where people can redeem those points for some sort of NFT that is like a cool artwork, or maybe gets you access to some special events or something. That could be interesting, and that's where I see Web3 going. Web3 can be used to create ownership, collectibles, gamify. I mean, essentially it's stamp collecting, baseball card collecting in a digital way. It marks unique ownership, and marks that's original, because I can photocopy like a Mickey Mantle baseball card or print one off the internet and get it put on cardstock, but with blockchain, that whether it's a copy someone did right click and save, or it's the person really owns it. And usually sometimes with these NFTs also goes the intellectual property rights, the right to reproduce the graphic, to resell the graphic. That can also be in the metadata, that the rights go with it or not go with it. And then every time it's sold, there's a royalty, so the artist gets paid. So those are like the cool things I like about Web3 and NFTs. But do I see it saving the world and liberating us from the dark overlords? Probably not. You know, I mean, that's the internet was supposed to do that back in the day. You know, I mean, and then there's always some technology is supposed to liberate us, but actually it just does quite the opposite. You know, I mean, the thing is, blockchain, everything is on chain, and it's there for life, and you know, it leaves a pretty good. It's a ledger, and it's a computer. You know, it's generated by a computer, so it's very precise. Timestamps, addresses, well, this wallet to that wallet, and it doesn't take much, I think, anymore. With I think the Danish police figured out to tie those addresses to IP addresses, and get a pretty good idea of what's going on. So, yeah, that I don't see that happening. You know, and like Bitcoin, like replacing the dollar or this, you know, it's an asset, and you know, when there is money printing, you know, there's inflation, and all assets go up, and what have you. And if a Bitcoin goes up enough, then someone will want to make their own version of Bitcoin. Like someone did that, and they called it Ethereum, and then there's Litecoin and Dogecoin. So maybe the amount of Bitcoin is fixed, but the amount of coins that there can be is infinite, you know. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, that is just something out there to keep in mind. So like I said, this is a technology. Blockchain is a technology, not a panacea to all our problems. It's not going to solve you know, all of society's ills and everything, but it is, like I said, the NFTs, those are cool, those are fun, and that's what we're working with, like gamifying NFTs. Some of the DeFi thing, like micropayments, you know, automated payments, that's cool. You know, especially if it's a proof of stake blockchain like Solana, or, you know, what is the other one? Polygon or Polkadot, you know, where they have low fees, so you're not paying like $80 every time you do a 2-cent microtransaction. And that's kind of where Ethereum had some flaws. You want to go buy a $5 cup of coffee, and it's going to cost you $80 to transact. And somehow that's setting the world free, and that's genius. I don't know how that ever became genius, that you pay, you know, crazy money to do a microtransaction. But supposedly, I don't know, whoever invented Ethereum, Vitalik and Charles Hoskin and all these people who were involved in Ethereum in the early days, they're supposedly geniuses for coming up with something that's slower, more expensive, much more difficult to use. It's like all the opposite. You know, when you make a new product, it's supposed to be faster, cheaper, and easier. It's quite the opposite. But I do sit on some Ethereum. This is not investment advice, because it's not the best product wins, it's the right product wins, and they have the right marketing, and they have the right people believing in it. So yeah, I do hold some of that. I hold some Polygon, because I see they're always partnering with some companies. You know, they're doing all this mainstream stuff like Starbucks and Reddit, you know, so of course, you know, like my view is, and this is just my opinion, the consolidation is already happening. I think the top 10 or 20 tokens are going to win this, and I think somewhere in the top 10 or 20 tokens is going to be the winner of all of this. You know, the next Google of crypto or something. I think this next round, the reason why Bitcoin might reach 100,000 is because altcoins aren't going to get anything. A lot of altcoins are going to die, and all that money is going to go into Bitcoin. So I think it's going to be very different this time, that there's going to be blue chips. And, you know, Bitcoin is a technology, Ethereum is a technology, it's very old, but it's branded. You know, it's people believe in it, and they have enough money they could just, you know, fork to another chain or technology when they want to. The branding is very strong. But then again, I mean, Bitcoin could go the way of AOL. You know, you never know who's going to pop off. Some billionaire is going to pop off something, and everyone will run into it. So you got to watch it every day. You got to, if you're going to invest in this stuff, it's not like investing in Johnson & Johnson or Microsoft, you know, where you can just like fire and forget, and you know that it's always growing, and it goes with population growth. Like it's different. You gotta watch this stuff all the time. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm almost at my destination, Lviv city center. Take care. Have a nice Friday. It's life is wonderful. Get outside, talk to real people. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool when you do that. Anyway, bye-bye.